The Soyuz lifted off on May 28th in the evening and delivered the astronauts the following morning to the International Space Station. Soyuz lifting off from Baikonur in Kazakhstan. The International Space Station is in low Earth orbit. It's the 9th space station to be inhabited, following Skylab, Mir, and many others. It flies at 230 miles, that's 370 kilometers up. Its speed, 7.7 kilometers per second. Total cost, they reckon, $150 billion US. Has more than 820 cubic meters of pressurized space, making it larger than your average 5-bedroom house. You live in an average 5-bedroom house, I imagine, so you know about that. Enough room for a crew of 6, plus a vast array of scientific experiments. 52 computers controlling the systems on the ISS. More than 115 space flights were conducted on 5 different types of launch vehicles over the course of the station's construction. The ISS marked its 10th anniversary of continuous human occupation in 2010.
National Space Station opening at 11:14 p.m. Central Time.
It's not only an orbiting laboratory.
Entering the International Space Station, seeing the new hairstyle being sported by Chris Cassidy, complete with a shaved head and a matching goatee. The two exchanging a lot of laughter, as well as the rest of the crew. Karen Nyberg there, also entering into the International Space Station.
All that happened just a few days ago. We should be hearing from Luca in just a moment. Greeting us.
Behind her, Fyodor Yashikin, and current commander of the station, Pablo Denegrado.
Hello, welcome on board the International Space Station. My name is Luca Parmitano. I'm here with my crewmates, and we are very much looking forward to the arrival of ATV-4, Albert Einstein, one of the highlights of my increment. We are very much looking forward to it because it carries lots of experiments, our personal stuff, lots of food, and so we would like to congratulate the ground teams, all of them, for a successful launch, and then we're looking forward to a solar array deployment and a great ascent to the station, and after that we will be working for docking and stowage and unpacking, and we are all very excited to be working with it. Goodbye.
While you were watching that film, we were picked up by the tracking station in Adelaide. The launch is at 250 kilometers altitude.
I'm speaking to our younger listeners now. If you want to be an astronaut, here's an idea of what it takes. Consider Luca's path.
Well, graduated from the Italian Air Force Academy, then completed basic training with the U.S. Air Force at the Euro-NATO Joint Jet Pilot Training Facility in Texas. He also completed a master's in experimental flight test engineering in Toulouse.
That's not all. After pilot training, he flew the aircraft in Italy for 6 years, served as chief of training and commander of a squadron. He was selected by the Italian Air Force to become a test pilot trained in France.
Yes, he's a major in the Italian Air Force, has logged more than 2,000 hours flying time, is qualified on more than 20 types of military airplanes and helicopters, and has flown over 40 types of aircraft.
He was assigned to this mission in 2011 after being named an astronaut in 2009. So if you're considering a career as an astronaut, that's the sort of background they're looking for. Are you considering a career as an astronaut? You're too old.
I'm too old.
Yeah, so am I. We're going to go now to another replay, another series of shots of the liftoff and the flight phases of the launch tonight. You know, you see them over and over, but it's always the same sensation. You never get tired of it.
Very impressive. With the visibility this evening, very impressive.
Which is better than we thought.
Oh, yes.
This is a closer view from the pad. Looks like it's a Toucan, where the camera's about 2 kilometers away. Ariane 5 rising majestically slowly. If you watch the Vega launch, Vega goes up like a shot, just like a rocket.
Oh, yes.
If I may say. Ariane, a little more slowly. talking about being an astronaut. If you want to know, you'll be training in Germany at the European Astronaut Center, and when Kirsten McDonnell from ESA comes in, she'll be telling us all about what happens there for you future astronauts. When you saw the Soyuz lifting off, what went through your mind?
Well, we're currently preparing for the next Soyuz mission here from CSG, in fact, for the O3B Networks constellation. That's due to be launched on the 24th of June.
Now, Soyuz is being assembled here, and is assembled horizontally, unlike the Ariane and the Vega, right?
Yes. So the assembly right now, the Soyuz STB, it's pretty much ready in the MIC, and the frigate MT, this is currently fueled, ready in the S3B processing facility. The satellites are also mechanically, electrically installed on what we call the launch interface structures. So we're more than halfway through the launch campaign for the O3B Networks constellation mission.
We're waiting for confirmation of the second upper stage burn coming in, I would say roughly half a minute. That burn going to last roughly half a minute, a short one. Studies of the ATV program go back to way back to 1987, when ESA first started looking into the project. Compare it with Apollo, the 60s project. The U.S. vehicle stood 11 meters. The ATV is, what, 10 and a half, I think, tall. Apollo weighed 30 tons.
Yes.
More than this.
Oh, yes.
Many years ago. There we are. Well, on the screen we have the ignition, the second boot, and the DDO has just confirmed that. Again, sometimes the telemetry has a little delay of 2 or 3 seconds before it comes in here to the nerve center in Jupiter.
Yes, the Jupiter Mission Control, this being the nerve center of the space base and the brain of launch operations. The workstations, they're all staffed by 3 teams who are in charge of this launcher, the satellites, and the base facilities. The room is divided into 2 parts. The control center with the operations, the wall screen we can see in front of us, and the VIP viewing room that seats over 250 people.
We got time for the quiz question. You ready for this one?
Go for it.
All right. Here's a quiz question. Ariane Space Quiz question number 213 concerns the International Space Station. Simon, how much does it weigh? Any ideas? In kilos? In pounds? If you got an answer, hold on to it. We'll come back. How much does the International Space Station weigh? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure somebody knows this out there. You got an idea? No, well, hold on to it. We'll come back. We were looking into the room here in Jupiter, Arianespace and ESA, major pillars of Europe's space program. A film now on their relationship.
And welcome back to Mission Control here in Houston. And to answer that question from the Arianespace commentator, the International Space Station weighs about 1 million pounds in mass, just short of 1 million pounds in mass, size of a football field, and a city in the sky, whose assembly continues, actually, with the launching later this year atop a Russian Proton rocket of a new multi-purpose laboratory module that will replace the Pirs docking compartment, serving as not only an additional laboratory for more scientific research, but also as a new docking port and an airlock for continuing Russian spacewalks out of the Russian segment of the International Space Station. We will be coming up on the separation of the Albert Einstein automated transfer vehicle from the upper stage, now that its work is complete for this mission. That spacecraft separation is scheduled in about 2 minutes from now. That will be followed by about 25 minutes to enable the systems experts at the Toulouse Control Center, the Automated Transfer Vehicle Control Center in Toulouse, France, to evaluate the health and condition and preparation for the eventual deployment of the solar arrays on the automated transfer vehicle, as well as the deployment of its proximity link boom. That's the communications boom that will relay critical communications during rendezvous and docking. Now let's return to Kourou, French Guiana, continuing Arianespace coverage of the flight of the Albert Einstein.
How is the ATV going to be separated?
Well, the ATV is supported on the Ariane by what is called the Launch Adapter Structure, or in this instance, the SDM, the Separation and the Distancing Module. This STM it basically comprises an interface ring interfacing directly to the ATV with an aluminium thermal clamp pad, basically an extremely tight belt holding the ATV in place. And it also comprises a lower part, a cylindrical module. This interfaces directly to the VEB or the EPS upper stage. This lower cylindrical part will remain on the launcher after separation.
So how does this work? I mean, we got the facts and the figures, but how does it work concretely?
Well, with the STM is equipped with a series of 12 precisely calibrated spring distancing units. When the order is sent to open the clamp band and release the ATV, this system ensures a relative velocity at separation greater or equal to 0.5 meters per second. In other words, it gently pushes the ATV away from a launch vehicle so it can safely start its mission to the International Space Station.
Now, this sounds like to me the same system as is used to inject satellites into GTO, geostationary.
Yes, very similar configuration. And we're coming up on the separation in a few moments.
In less than 2 minutes again, one of these moments of high concentration for everybody here. Tonight represents years, I think it's safe to say, of work for many people here and around the world. The mood in Jupiter is, I would say, how would you describe it? Focused?
Very focused.
Préparation de la TV4 Albert Einstein.
Very intense.
There's the good news. Separation of the ATV. And right on target.
270 kilometers.
Albert Einstein, beginning life. The mood, as you can see, very buoyant here in Jupiter and all across the Space Center and at all the points and posts where people are working or following the launcher and the satellite. Work just beginning for many people now, downrange, at the ground stations, at other centers of the world, where the satellite's first maneuvers are being monitored. Handshakes all around, cigars, champagne will be forthcoming, I imagine. So for the rather tense moments,
oh yes,
a minute ago.
Yes, everybody will be very, very pleased with this. And of course, congratulations to all the teams that have been working with this, and a very good luck to the teams that are currently working in the Toulouse facility for the ATV early operations period.
And those early operations are, if I can find them, they're going to be. There will be how many burns of the motor? You don't know. While we're waiting for Kirsten, here we are. First slew maneuver. What's a slew maneuver? Any idea? No? Well, we'll get Kirsten. Deployment of the solar arrays begins in about 24 minutes. Confirmation of solar array deployment in about 10 minutes after that. Updating timing for phasing maneuvers. Deployment of the boom in about 2 hours. We'll have more. For now, another replay. We're going to be going to the traditional post-launch speeches in just a moment. They're readying the podium down there. We'll be hearing from Jean-Jacques Dordain of ESA, Stéphane Israel of Arianespaces, Jean-Yves Legal, CNES. In the meantime, while we're waiting, the quiz question, do you have an idea? What is the weight of the International Space Station? Roughly. Roughly.
You're going to have to put us out of our misery, Josh.
You don't have any idea?
I can't guess.
You don't want to guess even? It's about £1 million.
Well,
yes. The exact figure I have is 919,960 pounds. You had no idea?
Nope, that's a figure.
417,000 kilometers. So if you got that right, £1 million, give yourselves a round of applause. You'll get to see another launch replay coming up and hear the speeches. And even better than that, you get to hear from Kirsten McDonald of ESA, who's making her way up to the broadcast booth now. And as soon as the speeches are finished in about 15 minutes, we'll be able to talk with Kirsten all about what she does. She's a cargo specialist, and she also was an instructor at the EAC, the European Astronaut Center. I see Jean-Jacques Dordain and Stefan Israel are down on this side of the Jupiter Mission Control. They've come out from what they call a fishbowl, where the technical people operate, and they are now on this side where the VIPs are, and Mr. Israel making his way to the podium. Now the next voice you hear will be Stefan Israel, Chairman, CEO of Arianespaces. Systems on the ISS. More than 115 space flights were conducted on 5 different types of launch vehicles over the course of the station's construction. The ISS marked its 10th anniversary of continuous human occupation in 2010.
International Space Station opening at 11:14 p.m. Central Time.
It's not only an orbiting laboratory.
Tano entering the International Space Station, seeing the new hairstyle being sported by Chris Cassidy, complete with a shaved head and a matching goatee. The two exchanging a lot of laughter, as well as the rest of the crew. Karen Nyberg there, also entering into the International Space Station.
All that happened just a few days ago. We should be hearing from Luca in just a moment. Greeting us.
Behind her, Fyodor Yushchin, and current commander of the station, Pavel Zenigrado.
The Soyuz lifted off on May 28th in the evening and delivered the astronauts the following morning to the International Space Station. Soyuz lifting off from Baikonur in Kazakhstan. The International Space Station is in low Earth orbit. It's the 9th space station to be inhabited, following Skylab, Mir, and many others.
Hello, welcome on board the International Space Station. My name is Luca Parmitano. I'm here with my crewmates, and we are very much looking forward to the arrival of ATV-4, Albert Einstein, one of the highlights of my increment. We are very much looking forward to it because it carries lots of experiments, our personal stuff, lots of food, and so we would like to congratulate the ground teams, all of them, for a successful launch, and then we're looking...
It flies at 230 miles, that's 370 kilometers up. Its speed, 7.7 kilometers per second. Total cost, they reckon, $150 billion US. Has more than 820 cubic meters of pressurized space, making it larger than your average 5-bedroom house. You live in an average 5-bedroom house, I imagine, so you know about that. Enough room for a crew of 6, plus a vast array of scientific experiments. 52 computers controlling the system.